Hey everyone, let's talk about something today that's related to the development of a junior golfer as they go from an early age into high school, into college, and what that looks like. And there's some windows that we talk about. There's 4 different windows of opportunity to really capitalize on the ability of these kids as they grow up through junior golf, as they go through elementary, middle, and then high school. And if you miss one of these windows of opportunity, that's going to lead to lesser potential, if you will. Because when we talk about the 4 windows, we have speed between the ages of like 5 to 7 for boys and 4 to 6 for girls. That's a speed window that we're looking at. Now, then after that, as they get to about 10 years old for girls, 10 to 12, boys 11 to 13, we're talking about another speed window. In between those 2 windows, we're talking about building foundational movement patterns and strength. As they get a little bit older and they hit puberty, as they've had a little bit of a growth spurt and now they're into puberty, now we're talking about a window of opportunity when they start to plateau in their growth and their height velocity, how fast they're growing. We're talking about a period of time where growth hormone, testosterone are at the highest levels, and that's a window of opportunity to capitalize on strength, building a very strong base of strength for these golfers as they get through that window, if you will, of growing as an adolescent. Then they'll hit a window. For girls, starts at about 14. For boys, about 15, where let's capitalize on power development. So we laid the base work of speed, some foundational strength, speed, and then strength, and then power. Those are the 4 windows. And then, once you get to about 17, 18, it starts dipping down a little bit. Once you get to 20, 21, you've missed those windows of opportunity to really capitalize on really the athlete's potential, the golfer's potential to have a strong fuel source. I'll tell you what I mean by that. We have 4, we could categorize this into like 4 different kind of fuels that a golfer can use. We have jet fuel. We have rocket fuel. We have gasoline. We have diesel. So the fastest of those is going to be the rocket fuel, right? And then you got the jet fuel, and then you got the gasoline, and then diesel, the diesel Mack truck, right? So think of that, and think of maybe some examples of people that you know, maybe you yourself. If you miss the opportunity to engage in a lot of athletic stuff growing up, your potential is a little bit lower because you don't have that background, that framework of the nervous system to the muscle system and that connection. And so if you miss like 1 or 2 of those windows, you may have jet fuel. You're probably not going to have that rocket fuel where, super powerful, super explosive. Think of Usain Bolt, the sprinter, the Olympic sprinter. So if you miss some of those windows, you're not going to have as much capability necessarily. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be a good golfer. It just means, you may not be able to chase that extreme speed and extreme explosiveness that you think that you need and that you're wanting to have. But if you capitalize on these things through all these different phases, these 4 different windows as the junior golfer is growing up, if you capitalize on all of those different windows, they're going to have rocket fuel. And that gives a really, really strong foundation of, hey, we can actually make you a really explosive and powerful golfer. And, you dial in all the accuracy, and it's phenomenal. But if you get somebody that didn't really do much athletic kind of stuff as they were growing up and into high school, they just didn't do too much, and that's fine. It's just they're going to probably be more of like a gasoline or diesel kind of fuel where it's not super explosive because that foundation hasn't been laid as they were growing. Now, that's not to say that hard work doesn't pay off and, give benefit later on in life. It's just as you're growing, you have these windows of trainability, of opportunity that you wouldn't have later on necessarily as well. And that goes in line with if somebody is in their late 20s, early 30s, or 40s, or 50s, and they're like, you know what, I really want to add a ton of speed. I want to see what my potential is, but they didn't do very much when they were growing up. Up until like their 20s, early 20s, they didn't do very much, and they want to be a rocket fuel, chasing really, really fast speeds. They might get somewhere. They might get to a fast speed, but they're going to probably break down because that's not their fuel that they've been used to as they've grown up. Now, if you have somebody who's hit all those windows during their early life and up into teenage years and then early 20s, and then they're like, not doing very much for the next 20 years, and they're in their 40s, and then they're thinking, you know what, I want to get back into it. I want to get back into golf. I want to get back into really diving into some speed stuff and get back some of that distance and that power. They're going to be able to a lot easier and a lot quicker than somebody who didn't have that background. And so with that being said, understand, parents of a junior golfer, or if you're a junior golfer watching this, understand that there are going to be these windows of opportunity that you need to capitalize on in addition to all the skill work and technical work that you're doing with your golf coaches, your swing coaches. You need to understand that this is going to be paramount to longevity and success later in life as a golfer. If you overlook these things as you're going through these windows of opportunity, you might be missing out on capitalizing on something that could have been so beneficial. And so with that being said, if you're a junior golfer, if you're a parent of a junior golfer, we have junior golf classes for training. Some small group classes for group training for 10 to 13, 14 to 18. And the reason why we have those is to capitalize on these windows of opportunity to get them to be, where they want to be and, potentially playing into college. And if their dreams and desires are to go further and to become professional and to go on tour, laying that foundational framework here. That's our goal, to give them the best opportunity to accomplish their dreams and their goals while staying injury-free as much as they can and being safe through that process. And so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But let's change the game. Let's change the status quo of how things are being done. And let's really make this next wave of junior golfers the strongest and the most, the best golfers that they can be.